trouble in your eyes now, but I know there's always a way. From sunrise till dawn I'll be here waiting. From sunrise till dawn I'll never stop. I'll fix you up, make everything much smoother again. I'll fix you up, from sunrise till dawn, my friend. I'll fix you up, with these hands and heart so true. I'll fix you up, Daniel, I'll fix you up. The connections might be tangled, the power source has lost its spark, but every wire tells a story, and I can mend what's torn apart. From sunrise till dawn I'll be here waiting. From sunrise till dawn I'll never stop. I'll fix you up, make everything run smooth again. I'll fix you up, from sunrise till dawn, my friend. I'll fix you up, with these hands and heart so true. I'll fix you up, Daniel, I'll fix you up. When the current isn't flowing, when the signals disappear, I'll be here with tools and patience, make the static crystal clear. Every cable, every circuit, every problem that you bring, I'll restore what time has broken, make the whole world sing. So don't you worry about tomorrow, don't you stress about today. I've got maintenance for your troubles, and I'll chase them all away. I'll fix you up, make everything run smooth again. I'll fix you up, from sunrise till dawn, my friend. I'll fix you up, with these hands and heart so true. I'll fix you up, Daniel, I'll fix you up. Hey, Daniel, everything's good as new. Hey, Daniel, I'll fix you up for you.
Well, welcome. It's Friday, everybody. Thank God it's Friday. And today is Judge O'Donnell. So let's get started with this. Share screen. Judge O'Donnell, John P. O'Donnell. Share. Come back and make this bigger. Let me come back here. And make this bigger. A lot of breaks in this.
Filed on January 13th of 2025, all 3 counts being trafficking in cocaine, first count being an F4, the remaining 2 being F5s, all with forfeiture specification. It's the state's understanding today that the defendant will withdraw his plea of not guilty and will plead guilty to counts 1 and 3, count 1 being trafficking cocaine.
Can't even hear this.
If you want to, do you understand that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have the constitutional right to not testify at trial if you do not want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If you decide not to testify at trial, nobody is permitted to comment on that decision. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you go to trial and you're found guilty, you have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you file an appeal, you have the constitutional right to have a lawyer represent you in the appeal. Do you understand that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you could not afford to hire a lawyer, one would be provided at no cost to you. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you file an appeal, you're entitled to be given a transcript of all the hearings in this case. Do you understand that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you could not afford a copy of those transcripts, they'd be given to you at no cost. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you plead guilty today, you will not have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about any of these rights?
No, Your Honor.
Do you still want to plead guilty to these charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand by pleading guilty, you're fully admitting your guilt to the charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand by pleading guilty to these felonies that you're voluntarily giving up your freedom for whatever period of time I could sentence you to prison, to jail, or to community control?
Yes, Your Honor.
In count 1, trafficking cocaine is a felony 4. It carries a maximum prison sentence of 18 months and a maximum fine of $5,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Count 3, trafficking cocaine is a felony 5, and that has a 12-month maximum prison sentence and a $2,500 maximum fine. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you plead guilty to the forfeiture specifications, you're voluntarily giving up any right or claim you would have to the items listed. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I could impose a consecutive sentence upon you. That means one sentence after another for the separate counts. If I did that, the maximum prison sentence is 30 months and the maximum fine is $7,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you presently on post-release control to the parole authority?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand your guilty plea may result in a driver's license suspension of between 6 months and 5 years?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand your felony conviction prevents you from owning or possessing a firearm?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand if a prison term is imposed in this case that you might have to serve a period of post-release control after your release for up to 2 years under the parole authority?
Yes, Your Honor.
If they place you on post-release control and you violate any conditions, the parole authority can send you back to prison for up to 9 months for each of your violations, up to 1/2 of my sentence. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If that violation is a new felony, then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for that violation. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if that were to occur, the maximum prison sentence for the violation would be the greater of 12 months or the time left under post-release control. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if a prison term is imposed, you are eligible for judicial release?
Yes, Your Honor.
I could place you on community control for up to 5 years, but if you violate any conditions, I could send you to prison for 30 months. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anybody promised you I would be lenient on you just because you're pleading guilty today?
No, Your Honor.
Has anybody promised you what I will sentence you to in this case?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand I do not have to follow the sentencing recommendation of either the prosecutor or your lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you had enough time to talk with Mr. Fatika before pleading guilty today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has he discussed everything about your case and answered all of your questions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the advice he has given you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you been threatened or coerced in any way to plead guilty today?
No, Your Honor.
Are you freely, knowingly, and voluntarily entering your guilty plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you freely doing this?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're knowingly doing this?
Yes.
And you're
Sorry about
voluntarily doing this, is that
Yes.
correct? All right.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Do you have any questions at this point?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Cutts, if the case went to trial, what would the evidence show?
Thank you, Your Honor. Had this matter proceeded to trial, the state would have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that in September of 2024, the Lake County Narcotics Agency began working with confidential informants 1445 and 1446. Confidential informants informed narcotics agents that they could purchase crack cocaine from an Archie Coley, the defendant in Lake County, Ohio. Identification of Mr. Coley, the defendant, was verified through photograph, and on September 16th of 2024, narcotics agents met with both confidential informants who had previously had contact with the defendant about purchasing $50 worth of crack cocaine at Walgreens on Richmond Street in Painesville, Lake County, Ohio. The confidential informants went to that location after being searched, after being given a recording device and recorded funds. CIs went to Walgreens and parked. On the way there, the confidential informant spoke to the defendant to confirm it was going to be at Walgreens in Painesville, Lake County, Ohio. CIs parked. The defendant walked up to the vehicle on foot, provided money through the window, then got into the vehicle, and the CIs provided money through the window. Defendant got into the back of the car and provided suspected crack cocaine to one of the CIs. That was later sent to the Lake County Crime Lab and found to be .49 grams of cocaine, a Schedule II controlled substance. After the defendant exited the vehicle, the confidential informants went back to the agent and provided the items, suspected crack cocaine. There were juveniles in the vicinity of Walgreens at that time, within 50 feet of the sale. On September 19th of 2024, narcotics agents again were working with the same confidential informants who had contact with the defendant to purchase $100 of crack cocaine around North St. Clair Street in Painesville, Lake County, Ohio. Due to a delay for running out of gas, the confidential informants were running late. Defendant then changed the location to McDonald's on Richmond Street in Lake County, Ohio, in Painesville, Lake County, Ohio. When the confidential informants arrived in the location, the defendant rode up on a bicycle, approached the driver's side door. The CIs provided $100 in U.S. currency. Defendant gave suspected crack cocaine and then rode away. That suspected crack cocaine was sent to the Lake County Crime Lab and confirmed to be 1.09 grams of cocaine, a Schedule II controlled substance. Officers watched from different locations, and that would have been the evidence that the state provided.
Thank you. Mr. Fatika, anything to add to those facts?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Coley, did you hear what Ms. Cutts said, that the facts would show if the case went to a trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are those facts true?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, what is your plea to count 1, trafficking of cocaine, a felony 4?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is your plea to count 3, trafficking of cocaine, a felony 5?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is your plea to the forfeiture specification in both of those counts?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Fatika?
This is the original. I don't think there have been any changes made. Sign here, please.
Your Honor, received the written plea of guilty and judgment entry. I witnessed the defendant sign the document in open court. His counsel signed it, and I signed it.
Mr. Coley, is this your signature on this written plea of guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you sign it voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you want me to accept your written plea of guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I will accept the written plea of guilty. Defendant was present with Mr. Fatika, advised of all of his rights. In a knowing, intelligent, voluntary waiver of those rights, he understands the nature of the charge, the consequence of his guilty plea, and the maximum penalty. Find it to be knowing, intelligent, and voluntary, will accept his plea of guilty and find him guilty of count 1, trafficking cocaine, a felony 4, and the specification, and count 3, trafficking cocaine, a felony 5, and the specification. Refer this for a pre-sentence report and a drug and alcohol evaluation. Sentencing will be April 30 at 10:15, and the bond is continued. Anything else, Ms. Cutts?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Fatika?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we're adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, he's definitely not gonna ask you questions.
I really don't want to write too much. I'd rather just talk.
That's, yep.
It's good.
Like I said, he's probably gonna ask you a bunch of questions. So.
Yes, ma'am. He's upset. He's upset.
He's just wondering what happened.
Okay. I called Erin and spoke to her after 1 o'clock,
Yep, that's what I saw during yesterday.
and I just saw her. She's transporting somebody
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. Yeah, and just talked to her again.
Oh, okay.
And
Perfect.
Craigberry.
Perfect. Yeah, so she, so they said depending what the judge does today, if he lets you go to jury,
All rise. Seated. Okay. We're here on 24/3/27, Vicky Sheehan on a final hearing. Violation of community control. Violations are February 12th, you were discharged from Sky Point and were in parts unknown. Do you understand that charge?
Yes, Your Honor. I
And
do.
then also you did not report to probation when you were discharged. You understand that charge?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
And then February 20, you did not refuse to submit a urine sample to probation. You understand that charge?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right. Thomasek?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I've had a chance to speak with Mr. Sheehan today, and he is going to plead guilty to the violations, and we're prepared to proceed to sentencing today as well.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I do.
What's your plea to the charge? To the violations, what's your plea?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All right, I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. Okay, now what?
Your Honor, dear Honorable Judge, I'm writing this humbly apologizing for what happened at Sky Point Recovery, Your Honor. And this does not excuse my behavior whatsoever. And I take full responsibility for any and all actions, Your Honor. It wasn't my plan for any of this to happen. It was my plan to make a man out of myself, Your Honor. They phased me up from PHP to IOP because I was participating in group and passing 3 drug tests a week. I don't understand why she said I wasn't participating in group. That's the only way to level up from PHP to IOP, and that takes 30-ish days to reach IOP, Your Honor. I see the life I want to live, and I would ask for a second chance at this, Your Honor.
You were, at one point, back in November, at Alpha House, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you leave Alpha House?
I was medically discharged because I had a seizure, and
Right.
I had brought the paperwork last
All
time.
right, so then you went to Sky Point. How long were you at Sky Point?
You can stay up to 6 months, Your Honor, but they have a 30-day certificate, they have a 60-day certificate, they have a 4-month certificate, and they have a 6-month certificate.
All right.
I stayed a little above and beyond. I stayed over 60 days. I guess I was only supposed to stay 60 days, but I ended up staying longer because I would just feel like it was helping me at the point.
All right, so you were in the PHP to begin with?
Yes, Your Honor, and I leveled up and I phased up from PHP, and you gotta work your way up through classes, and they go from PHP class and they move you up to a different class from PHP to IOP group.
All right, how long were you in PHP before you went to IOP?
30 some days.
Okay. And how long were you in IOP before you left there?
It's a while. I'd say close to 2 months.
Okay, why did you leave there?
Your Honor, it was just towards the end. It was just like she had said. It's almost like a high school in there, Your Honor. It seemed like everything I was doing everything right. It seemed like people just didn't want me there. It's like I got accused. I got drug tested twice in one day and breathalyzed. Someone tried to accuse me of drinking, and I was like, what? I've been doing great. I take a drug test 3 times a week. I'm squeaky clean. And Your Honor, you're allowed to get 3 strikes against you in the program. I had 0 strikes. I had no strikes whatsoever before I was discharged from the place. I had no strikes against me, and I was keeping in touch with Cindy weekly, calling her on Fridays, every Friday. And if I didn't, like you said, even if you call and you don't reach Cindy, call back and try to talk to Craig Berry. I tried to call back and talk to Craig Berry. He was not in the office, so I called back on Monday to even talk to Cindy after Friday, because I'm supposed to call on Fridays. I called back on Monday to talk to her.
You mean while you were at Sky Point?
Yes, sir.
All right, so when you left Sky Point, why did you leave? What?
They try to accuse me of the craziest stuff happened, Your Honor.
All right.
I live in the house with 8 guys, because they have apartments and they have housing units. And I was staying in the house, and in my house, they found an empty bag of CBD weed, like the pack, and they accused me. They accused me and said that was mine. I said, how are you going to accuse me? And you didn't ask nobody else in the house. You didn't you didn't ask my roommate. You didn't ask anybody else. And Your Honor, after I left, I kept in touch with a couple guys. They texted me and told me 3 guys failed for marijuana after I left. They
All
drug
right.
tested the whole
So
house.
so when you left there, why didn't you let Cindy know that you left?
I was trying to make it back I was all the way in Akron. I'd never been to Akron. I was trying to make it back. My mom didn't want to come out there and pick me up. I was trying to get a ride back. It took me 2 days to get back.
All right, so
to
what
the city.
happened, so this was like, you were out and about for a week or so?
Yep.
So why didn't you take a urine sample when they got you here?
Your Honor, I'll be completely honest, and if I could go back a couple more steps, when I was in the rehabilitation, you know, I feel like mental health has a big part in my recovery and my mental health. If I'm not mentally stable, it's hard for me to recover. And when I was at Sky Point, they have mental health there, and they started me on 4 psych medications and MAT program as well, Suboxone. And some of my meds came up missing, because we don't have locks on our doors. We live with 10 guys in the house. And some of my meds came up missing. I reported it to mental health. We got in an argument, and mental health said they're not giving me no more medication, that they're cutting me off, that I need to go find an outside provider. So it went from being on psych medication to being on nothing in a blink of an eye. And it was just, and they didn't help me find another place. I said, is there a Signature Health out here? Because I'm not from Akron. They're like, no, there's no Signature Health. But pretty much I'm on my own trying to find a mental health spot. And before I know it, it's just like my mental health started going downhill. And that wasn't helping at the time, Your Honor.
When you were on the meds there, who prescribed them?
I forgot the psych lady's name. They had 2 psych doctors that worked there.
All right, so what did they prescribe for you?
I was on Seroquel, Remron, Boost Bar 3 times a day, Wellbutrin, and I was on Suboxone. And I was cut off of everything. It's just crazy. And I was talking to the head lady, the head guy. I was like, this is crazy. You guys are really gonna start me on medication and cut me off. They're like,
All right, so prior to that, what kind of psych meds have you been on?
Your Honor, I've been a guinea pig once or twice. I don't like doing that because I feel like it messes with my mental health, changing meds after med or med after med. But Prozac, Paxil, Zoloft. I've been on a lot of different medications. It's just I forgot a couple of different names, but more than that. But I've definitely been on a lot of different medications, Your Honor. It seems like those meds, I've been on those meds probably like 5 some years. Some of them, Boost Bar, Seroquel, Remron, like 4 or 5 years. even Wellbutrin 4 or 5 years.
Did you, what kind of contact do you have with your folks?
Oh, great, Your Honor. They're very supportive, and it just hurts me because they're getting older, and my dad's got health problems. It just makes me want to do better. Not everybody lives forever, you know.
Do they still have that store on Lakeshore Boulevard?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, they do. And my dad said, right when you get out of treatment, you can start working, man. He just wants me to do good. He just wants to see me do good. It's like, Dad's getting older, and it really hurts me to see it, you know. It just makes me want to do better because they're not going to be here forever. You can't live forever, you know. Everybody dies eventually, so.
Nobody can disagree with that. Ms. Tomaszek?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We would just like to ask the court today to continue Mr. Sheehan's probation. I did touch base with our social worker, Erin, and so did Ricky. She is willing to help find him another treatment facility for both mental health and drug issues. I do believe if he does get his mental health under control, it might help with the drug issues. He is currently serving a sentence out of Painesville Municipal Court, and Judge Malczewski is willing to amend that sentence pending what happens here today. He will allow him to go get treatment. Ricky did indicate to me that he has been free from alcohol for 11 months, so if he's able to be free from alcohol, I'm sure if he puts his mind to it, he'll be able to follow rules and be free from drugs and get his mental health under control. Thank you.
Okay. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue you on community control. I'm not going to set the terms right now. We'll come back for a hearing on that once the Public Defender's Office finds an appropriate spot for both the drug and alcohol and the mental health treatment.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you pled guilty on the vandalism over there in Muni,
Yes, Your Honor.
and that was, what the hell was that? Was that for the taking batteries out of a tablet?
Yeah, I got it.
What was that all about?
I had a possession of a battery piece. It was before I was on probation. The guy was scared, and I was in a bad spot, Your Honor, and that was before I was sentenced on probation, and before, you know, when I was.
Was that after your arraignment here, when you kind of went apeshit a little bit?
I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, it was. And I was in a bad spot, Your Honor, and I was getting paid to hold the battery, and I wasn't thinking about the right thing.
All right. All right, go over there, do what you're supposed to do. We'll come back when we find a place. All right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
You have a great morning.
Okay.
Perfect. So all we have to do is sober living spot?
Yep, find a place for you, make sure the judge approves it, and then we'll file a motion to amend out of Painesville as well once we get back.
Thank you.
You're welcome, absolutely. Then give Erin a call later this afternoon, but touch base with her later this week. Like I said, I'm gonna touch base with her as soon as I get back.
Okay, perfect.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks, Ricky.
Yep.
The State of Ohio versus William Beasley. Your Honor, we were last before the court on March 3rd of 2022. Prior to that, a jury trial had commenced on February 22nd of 2022 and culminated on March 3rd of 2022, at which point the jury reached a verdict of guilt as to count 1, felony murder, count 3, involuntary manslaughter, count 4, endangering children, a felony of the 2nd degree, count 5, endangering children, a felony of the 3rd degree. On both those counts, they made the additional findings. At the time of the verdict, Judge, you ordered a pre-sentence investigation of victim impact statements and the victim impact statement. Those reports have been completed and submitted for court review. The defendant is present today in court with counsel, Ms. Blake and Ms. Tuttle. He has 26 days to his credit. We are here for sentence, Your Honor.
All right, before we get to the sentencing hearing, there's the, I'm going to
inform Mr. Beasley of his duties to enroll as a violent offender under 2903.41. So, Mr. Beasley, I'm going to read this form to you, ask you to acknowledge that I read it to you by your signature. The county of conviction is Lake, case 21, CR 614, conviction under 2903.02B. Paragraph 1, you've been convicted of or pleaded guilty to a qualifying violent offender offense as defined in 2903.41. You are required to enroll in person with the sheriff of the county in which you establish residency within 10 days of coming into that county, or if occupying a dwelling for more than 3 days in the county. You are required to provide to the sheriff certain information, including your social security number, full name, and any alias you use, your residence address, information regarding the offense for which you were convicted of or convicted or pleaded guilty, a description of any scars, tattoos, or other distinguishing marks on your person, the name and address of any place you are employed or attend school, any driver's license number or commercial driver's license number or state identification card number issued to you, the license plate number of each vehicle owned or operated by you or registered in your name. The vehicle identification number and a description of the vehicle must also be provided to the sheriff. You are required to provide the sheriff fingerprints and palm prints. The sheriff will also obtain a photograph of you at the time of your enrollment. After the date of initial enrollment, you are required to re-enroll annually. You must update and/or amend any of the information described above that is changed and provided any additional information requested at the county sheriff's office within 10 days of the anniversary of the calendar day on which you were initially enrolled. If you change your residence address, you shall provide written notice of that change to the sheriff with whom you most recently enrolled and to the sheriff in the county in which you intend to reside. You are required to comply with all of the above described requirements for a period of 10 years unless your sentencing court determines otherwise. Since your expected residence address is located in Lake County, you shall enroll in person no later than 10 days after release with that county sheriff located at 104 East Erie Street, Painesville, Ohio. Failure to enroll or failure to verify residence at the specified times will result in a criminal prosecution. The last paragraph says you acknowledge the above requirements have been explained to you and that you understand the requirements and you must abide by all the provisions of the ORC, sections 2903.41 through .44. Ms. Tuttle?
Your Honor, for the purposes of the record, we would lodge an objection to the constitutionality of the registry for the purposes of appellate counsel. However, we're comfortable proceeding with his signature today.
Okay, thank you.
So right there, and it's not right to you. Right there. May I approach and return the form?
All right. Before we start, let's address the issue of merger. Ms. Naroda, do you want to start?
Judge, it's the state's position with respect to proceeding to sentence today that the state would elect to proceed on counts 1, that being felony murder, and count 4, F2, endangering children. It's the state's position that count 1, felony murder, and count 3, involuntary manslaughter merge. Counts 4 and counts 5, endangering children, merge, as they come from the same code section. However, it's the state's position that count 1 and count 4 do not merge. They're separate import, and they're separate offenses. The court heard the testimony. Zachary suffered multiple injuries. The lethal injuries were the brain injuries, and he suffered significant skeletal injury. And it's the state's position that each of those counts address separate injury, and those injuries were inflicted at different times. So the state would request to proceed with counts 1 and 4 separate, apart, standing on.
Your setup wants Opera GX.
up, ladies? Buy this bra and get a perfect lift.
Perfect lift? This is a perfect lift.
A man literally designed you with big boob and no head.
You.
How is that bra going, Chris?
Normally I don't swear, but what the is wrong with this bra?
Same, girl. Ladies, try Shapermint.
Your Honor, with respect to merger, what we would point out is that it's our position that all counts merge, and it appears that the state's proceeding on their argument based on separate harm. And in this case, what we cannot get around is that the cause of death was complications of blunt force injury to head, trunk, extremities, with skeletal and brain injuries. We keep coming back to that. So I don't think we can separate any harm from the death in this case, and we did file a brief kind of detailing that. I'm happy to answer any questions that the court may have.
So the predicate for count 1 is the endangering children, F2, correct?
That's correct, Judge.
And that's in count 4.
Our position has been that count 4 was a standalone count based on the skeletal injuries. The state did not charge the predicate offense of endangering children that gave rise to the brain injuries.
Your Honor, our position, we've had a lot of conversations with the state about this, is that that's not clear from the indictment. And in fact, the way the jury verdict reads, it certainly reads, and again, taking into account the jury's question in this case, it certainly appears as though the jury felt that the non-lethal offenses were the predicate offenses for the death counts in this case. We keep coming back to, if the state didn't charge the predicate, the state has the burden to prove that separate conduct, separate motive, or separate harm throughout the course of the trial. The state has to show that by evidence. The only point in time in which the state in this case tried to differentiate anything was in closing argument. In closing argument, the state stood up and said, count 1 is for this, count 2 is for this, count 3 is for this. And that is the first time we heard that. Even in the state's multiple bills of particulars, the state did not separate the cause of death. The state did try to separate separate injuries for the, again, I will just call them the non-death counts in this case. However, the state could not separate that their cause of death ties all of those things together. And as the case law contemplates on merger, the case law is very clear that you can have multiple consequences of any criminal act. That's to be contemplated by any criminal act. Multiple consequences can flow from one thing. Multiple harms can flow from one thing. To parse it out to the point where you are saying one fracture, one bruise, one, name a specific injury. That's not what the law is intended to do. That's not what the merger case law says. In this case, what is the harm? It is the death. And in this case, the state has not been able to tie any of the separate injuries, the state has not been able to separate any injuries from death, particularly because of the cause of death.
In count 4, that endangering count, is it just directed toward Ms. Naroda?
Okay.
Is your contention that relates to the skeletal injuries?
Yes, that was set forth in the state's supplemental bill of particulars.
Okay, and that was the predicate for the murder, right?
The same charge gives rise, yes, the predicate offense, but it.
So how do you differentiate those? If that injury was the cause of death, are you saying you can have that as a separate injury also, a separate offense also?
Judge, I believe that the state argued it that.
I know what you argue, but you're saying that it doesn't become murder unless the skeletal injuries under count 4 resulted in that caused the result being the death.
Or the brain injury can be the subject of the predicate offense in count 1, felony murder.
Okay.
Judge. And that's what the bill of particulars discussed.
All right, anything else you want to add?
Just briefly, I think that's exactly what the case law says not to do, which is parse out the separate conduct. In count 4, parse out separate potential consequences. in count 4, the state needs the abuse. That's the element of the offense. The abuse is what the state needs to prove that charge. The abuse encompasses any harm that would result from whatever the allegation of the conduct was. And in this case, the state was very clear, and the state has said throughout, it was not going to prove motive if it didn't have to, so it didn't. The state didn't prove conduct. The state said it didn't have to, and it wasn't going to, so they didn't. So the only real inquiry here is, can the state prove separate harm? And it's our position that you can't separate it from the fact that Zach died in this case. You can't separate any other injury, particularly, again, with that notion that these non-death counts are the predicate offenses. So we would ask that the court merge all counts into, if the state's electing to proceed under count 1, we would ask that the court merge all counts into count 1.
All right, pursuant to the revised code and the applicable case law, notably rough, I'm going to find that all counts 3, 4, and 5 merge into count 1, and we'll proceed on count 1. Mr. Rode, you want to proceed with, well, who?
Lauren.
Lauren, go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a particularly difficult case that we're in front of you on today, and it's tough to find the right words to say. Billy entered a plea of not guilty. He maintains his innocence in this matter. We all sat through a lot of hearings. We sat through 2 weeks of trial. Billy has respected the court. He has done everything that the court has asked of him, and the court got to know him a little bit through his pre-sentence report and his time that he has spent here. One thing that was consistently clear throughout the testimony that we heard is that Billy loves Zach. Billy was proud to be a father. Billy was excited to be a father. He was ready to have a family with Katie. And this is not at all where Billy thought his life would go or how he expected his life to go. Unfortunately, we don't have the kind of clarity that I think everyone wants and expects in a case like this. It's not the kind of clarity that I think we'll ever be able to get. And that's unfortunate here. But Billy is before the court, prepared to accept any sentence that the court imposes, here knowing that there's a mandatory sentence of 15 to life. So we'd ask that the court sentence him to 15 to life on count 1 and merge the other counts. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Beasley, you have the right to say anything that you want at this point. Is there anything you wish me to consider?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
I stand before you today to express to you all what an honor and wonderful opportunity it is to have been the father of such a handsome, beautiful little boy named Zach. And what a joy and happiness he bestowed into our lives, and how much a little man could change someone's life. Zach wasn't just my son, he was so much more. Ever since the day we figured out that Katie was pregnant, all I could think about was building a life that would just be everything a child would ever need or want. From deciding on the name to figure out deciding on a name to figuring out the theme of his room, everything I did was in preparation for Zach. I was so happy and excited to be a dad that nothing else mattered anymore. I got a better job, starting taking care of long unpaid debts, even thought about going to college and getting some sort of degree later on, so that Zach would have everything Zach needed to succeed and be happy. Then on the day that Zach was born, I looked into his grayish blue eyes and I fell in love. I knew I had a friend for life. Excuse me. All I could imagine was Zach, Katie, and I doing everything together, from fishing to camping and everything in between. Truly the happiest I've ever felt in my life. I was overflowing with bliss and joyous feelings. I was so proud to have our own family, to have been his father of such a wonderful little boy. I couldn't imagine life without him, and preparing said life, never looking back. What I was not preparing for is a day, one where instead of holding Zach, I would be wishing to hold him again.
This season, you've got places to
A day I hope no parent ever needs to experience. Zach was, and it still is, everything to me. And not a moment goes by that I'm not thinking of him, or that he's not a part of me. Every thought, every decision, every breath I do is for him. For almost 2 years now, I've been dealing and trying to cope with his loss, and each and every day, the pain grows stronger and stronger, and I miss him more and more. Even though Zach is still with me and continues to give me strength to get through every day, there will always be a place in my heart, a place where Zach will always have a home. And even though the thoughts hurt and reminds me every day how much I miss Zach, they also remind me how much I love him. They remind me that Zach still and always will be here, continue to guide me in making the right decisions, and that no matter what, we will always be best buds. Zach will always be my strength and will always give me courage, and for that, I will honor him for the rest of my days, in hopes that one day I will make him proud, just as he did and continues to do for me. I thank the court for giving me this opportunity to speak, and I thank my son, my best friend, my everything, Zach, for giving me the strength to stand up here today and speak to the court and everyone else and express myself so everyone knows just how proud I am to have been and remain your dad. I love you, buddy. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Tuttle?
Your Honor, Billy's friend, Mr. Edward Cranick, would like to make a short statement on his behalf.
Okay. State your name, please, for the record.
My name is Edward Cranick.
Go ahead.
I'm here to speak on William Beasley's behalf. William is a dear friend of mine. I've known him for about 6 years now. He's a hard, working, loyal, lovable person. I believe William has been mixed up in a medical misfortune that no one could have predicted or could have known about. I truly believe William was only trying to be a loving, caring, happy first-time father. With that being said, I'd like to ask the court to be lenient with William. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's nothing further from the defense, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Naroda?
Judge, the state would like to shift the focus to Zachary. This case was about his life and death, specifically 14 of his 32 days, Your Honor. I think when looking to sentence in this matter, the seriousness factors contained in 292912B are telling. When you look at 3 of those factors, the age of the victim, he was 32 days old when he left us. The serious physical harm he suffered, Judge, at the hand of his father, 5 hemorrhages, multiple rib fractures, 2 broken knees, a broken ankle, when he was only 6 pounds, Judge. Those profound and lethal injuries were inflicted by his own father, and the testimony demonstrated, Judge, that it was over time. It wasn't just one isolated incident. There were multiple modalities of injuries, as the doctors testified to in this case. And it was by choice. The defendant chose to set aside his duty of protection and care for his baby boy and acted on his own frustration or emotions and violently, forcefully abused his brand new baby boy. That resulted in his death. And the state would place on the record that we feel it's the most serious form of this offense, and ask that you impose the mandated statutory sentence of 15 to life.
Is there anything else you'd like to present?
Judge, I do believe there are 3 family members that wish to address the court. I'm not clear on what order, so I would...
All right, whoever wants to speak, if you could just state your name for the record and then tell me whatever it is you want me to know.
My name is Susan Toth, and I am Katie's aunt. Her mother, Linda, was my best friend. Katie's mother died January 31st, 2020. Zachary was born on April 27th, 2020, and died on May 29th, 2020. He was only 32 days old. I was fortunate to be one of the people that actually got to meet Zachary, to hold him and to feed him. He was a beautiful, perfect baby. We have a large, close, extended family that spans 3 generations. After Caitlin's mother died unexpectedly, we embraced Katie and Billy because because the impending birth of their baby was a cause for hope and celebration in a family still reeling from Katie's mother's death. When Zach died, I was one of a handful of people that reached out to Katie. Billy was very controlling and would not let Katie spend time alone with any of us. He isolated her from the rest of the family. If I tried to text her, she had to delete the texts immediately because he would get upset and angry if she was communicating with me. And Katie allowed that because she felt that after losing her mother and losing her baby within 3 months of each other, Billy was all she had left. She was very much in shock and could not comprehend that Billy was capable of inflicting harm on Zachary. In addition to losing Katie's mother and Zachary, he also felt as though he had lost Katie because Billy would not allow her to be with the rest of the family. Billy's dad, Bill Sr., was also a very good friend to our extended family and had been for many years before Katie and Billy met. That friendship has ended forever due to Billy's actions, and the family grieves the loss of that friendship as well. Until the trial, many of us have been unable to move forward. We have not been able to properly grieve either Linda's death or Zachary's death, and we are just now starting to do that. The whole dynamic of our family has changed as a result of Billy's actions. Some people blame Katie and cut off all contact with her. Some people see Katie for what she is, the mother of a murdered child. This tragedy has caused an irreparable rift in what used to be a beautiful, loving family. There are no winners here today. Zach is still gone. So many lives have been destroyed because of Billy's arrogance and his inability to control his anger. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shannon Davis. Every morning I wake up and I think about Zach, how old he would be, what silly things he might be doing, and what memories we'd be making on our family vacations together. Then I remember the nightmare that we are living, the tremendous loss that we had had to deal with each and every day. My heart aches for Katie, but also for my whole family. Katie, Becky, and I are bonded forever over Zach's birth and death. They are like sisters to me, and their pain is my pain as well. I was ecstatic to be Zach's aunt and godmother. I couldn't wait to meet him, hold him, smell him, and kiss him. All of that was wiped away when I had to wait outside the Cleveland Clinic for a week straight because you couldn't even be there to support Katie or Zach. I had to fill in for you and be Katie's second set of ears and support during the worst days of her life. I had to listen to countless doctors describe Zach's horrendous injuries and the fact that he would have no quality of life ever. As each doctor took his or her turn describing the horrific facts, I listened to Katie's cries become louder and more intense as she squeezed my hand harder and harder in utter disbelief. I was absolutely disgusted and sick to my stomach as I heard each doctor describe the various broken bones and numerous brain bleeds that occurred over time under your care of Zach. How could anyone do this to an innocent, sweet, beautiful 6-pound baby? Immediately after hearing all the dreadful news during the meeting, we had to relay this terrible information all over to you, and I think your response was, I think I should look into getting a lawyer. I have no words for that response. So back upstairs, we went to meet with the palliative care team to form an end-of-life plan for a 32-day-old baby. When we arrived in Zach's room, my life was forever changed. As we listened to the team of caring doctors and nurses, I just kept looking at Zach. How could this really be happening? He didn't deserve any of this. I watched Katie carefully take Zach in her arms. He had all these lines hooked up to him, giving him the medicine, trying to ease his pain and make him comfortable. Part of me wished she could just hold him like this forever, to keep him here. But the fact was Zach was hurting. The trauma and injuries were just too much for his little body. The damage was already done. Zach was swollen and tubes were sticking out all over his little body. No baby should ever have to look or feel like this, ever. As Katie held him in her arms, sang to him, read him books and kissed him, and rocked him, the reality came rushing over me. I had tried so hard to be strong for Zach and Katie, but I couldn't keep the tears in any longer. How could this be happening to sweet Zach and Katie? I had to witness the heart-wrenching decision to finally remove Zach from life support and wait, painstakingly wait, for him to gasp for his last breath. I don't wish that on anyone, ever. To watch a devoted mother, aunt, godmother witness this horrific moment is forever etched in my mind. I can never unsee this horrible experience that played out. It's a memory that I wish I could forget. One that I should never have had to witness. Watching the doctor pry Zach out of Katie's arms for what will be the last time was absolutely brutal. There Zach lay, perfectly swaddled and swollen, but finally at peace.
As sheriff, I've spent my career
The nurses asked if we wanted to bathe him one last time, and this is something no mother should ever have to be asked of her 32-day-old baby. I quickly started to grab things from the room and try to pack up as quickly as possible because Katie was absolutely beside herself. Leaving Zach in that room, in that hospital, going home with an empty car seat with no Zach was gut-wrenching. Actually, it's indescribable. You wouldn't know, but we drove home barely speaking because we honestly were in such shock about what just had happened. The next few weeks were a blur. I was trying to support Katie, but she was still under your control. You continued to try and turn her against her family and alienate her from us because you knew what you had done and you needed Katie to be on your side. Then 2 months later, Katie found out she was pregnant. I wanted to be happy, but honestly, my concern for Katie and the babies just grew because after Zach's death, I learned about your temper and how you had been physical with Katie. Katie missed our family vacation because of you. Tension between Katie and the family grew because of you. The twins were born and I haven't been permitted to even meet them yet. Why? All because of you. I have missed out on over 365 days of their lives, the time that I will never get back. They have a whole huge Irish family waiting to love them up and help them cope with the trauma that you have already caused them. I have missed all their firsts because you were a coward. They don't know their grandfather, great aunts, uncles, cousins, godmothers, any of this because of you. And I hope you can live with yourself and all the pain you have caused to so many people, especially your sons.
Thank you.
It's Caitlin Hines.
Today, Zach would have been 1 year, 9 months, and 28 days old. Instead, Zach is forever 32 days old. By now, Zach would have rolled over, said his first word, crawled, taken his first steps, learned how to feed himself, and would have learned how to throw a ball. He would look at you and me and call us Mommy and Daddy. Instead, Zach is 32 days old. Instead of a rowdy, healthy, beautiful little baby boy, he is ashes in a box, inside another box, in the shape of the Superman logo. The same box. If you look, I find myself trying to figure out how I can figure my body around just right in order to cuddle with Zachary at night. The box that should hold toys, but instead holds my young, dead son. Truthfully, Billy, I don't know what the hell to say to you. For almost 5 years, you called me the love of your life. You knew the thing I wanted most in life was to be a mom and raise amazing and kind children. You took Zach, and I quite possibly may lose custody of Alex and Nolan. I hope that resonates with you. You took the only thing that the love of your life ever wanted. You physically and emotionally abused me. I have pictures and proof of it in case you want to yet again play the victim. I don't deny that you had a rough childhood, but you chose to continue the cycle of abuse. You chose that conscious over 5 times, as you told the detectives. 5 times you looked at our beautiful, who looked exactly like you, and chose your ignorance, arrogance, and narcissism over Zachary's life. You have disappointed so many people, including me. You have affected so many more people than you can comprehend. More importantly, you let Zachary down. I used to think he looked at you like you were his hero. I now wonder if he was looking at you and begging why you were so mad, asking with his eyes, Daddy, why are you hurting me? You are solely responsible for Zachary's death, and you knew it from the very beginning. You lied to me for over a year. You stole such a bright light from this often dark world. You, William Lee Beasley, murdered Zachary William Beasley. You murdered your son.
Thank you. Anything for Ms. Naroda?
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report. I've also reviewed letters submitted by the state, including the 3 individuals who spoke. I received and reviewed letters submitted on behalf of Mr. Beasley. I've listened to counsel, listened to Mr. Beasley, listened to the other folks who have talked here today. And I've considered all the applicable statutes, most notably 29.02B1, which is the mandatory sentence in this case. So this, I think there were 29 witnesses that testified in this trial. Most of them were, or at least half of them were medical witnesses with very stark differences as to what caused the injuries and ultimately the death of Zachary. Two polar opposite theories of what occurred, and the jury made their finding after listening to all that evidence. So clearly, as I sat here and listened and considered all the evidence, it wasn't a medical misfortune that caused these injuries and caused his death. As I recall it, serious brain injuries, but 29 fractures, including the legs, a lot of ribs, 29. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because you took some action that caused those injuries. You described that somewhat in your interview with Detective Cretia and Detective Knack, how you handled Billy, and that in and of itself went a long way, I believe, toward the jury's determination of what occurred here. Now, it's my belief, after having this case for whatever, it's 9 months and having several hearings and sitting through the trial, that you didn't set out to purposely cause Zach's death. And the jury's finding reflects that, based on their not guilty verdict on one of the murders. But clearly, your actions that you took caused these injuries and caused his death. There's no question about that. And you have to account for that. And now, whether it happened out of pure anger or pure frustration or a combination of those things or carelessness, it really doesn't matter, because the 29 fractures are what in fact occurred, and the brain injuries are what in fact occurred as a result of what you did. And I'll tell you, one of the most haunting exhibits in this case was a picture side by side of Zach on that screen of, I believe the last picture was on 5/21, and the other one was a couple weeks before that. And what a stark difference in the appearances. It struck me that 5/21 picture, he looked like a little old man. So you could see in that short time that ensued that for whatever reason he took a beating that caused the 29 fractures and those brain injuries. And that's what the jury found. That's, I think, clear from the evidence. So here we are. Nothing can change it. Can't reverse course. This is where we are. And so your sentence is going to reflect the reality of what happened during the course of those 25 days, really. He was in the hospital the last 7 days. So after consideration of all the applicable factors and the evidence in this case, pursuant to Revised Code 2929.02B1, I'm going to sentence you on count 1, the only count in this case, since the other counts merge, of a sentence of 15 years to life in prison. There were no restitution claims, Mr. Narota? I'm not aware of any.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. So that is the mandatory sentence in this case. That's your sentence. When you are released from prison, you'll be on post-release control for 5 years. I believe that's applicable. Is it not? It's applicable in every...
I don't believe it's
not. There's no post-release control on this?
On murder. No, I don't believe so, Judge.
Okay.
It's a parole offense.
Okay. All right, so you'll be subject to parole when you're released. You have a right to appeal your conviction and your sentence to the 11th District Court of Appeals. You have a right to have a lawyer represent you in the appeal. I don't know the position of the public defender in this case.
Your Honor, we would request that outside counsel be appointed for the purposes of appeal due to the complicated nature of this case and the volume of evidence that we have. We would specifically request that the Ohio Public Defender's Office be appointed as counsel. We've reached out to their appellate division, and they are able and willing to take Billy's case.
Are they going to file the notice of appeal, or are you guys going to file
We
it?
can coordinate with them on that, Your Honor. If we file it, we'll file it and then ask through an entry that they be appointed if the court's willing to do that. Otherwise, we can just ask that they file a motion for an appointment, and then they can file the notice of appeal thereafter.
All right, so I'll appoint the Ohio Public Defender to represent you on the appeal. If you will coordinate with them on the filing, you have a right to have a timely notice of appeal filed in this case, so your lawyers and the Ohio Public Defender will coordinate on that. You have a right to all the transcripts in this hearing, and if you're indigent, you can't afford them, they'll be provided free of charge to you. Is there anything further from the state?
That's the
If that's true, then you would have kicked their asses out of the bar when you knew they were selling cocaine, wouldn't you? It's your bar.
Yeah.
So why didn't you kick them out?
Today's video comes from Judge John P. O'Donnell. Here are the links to his channel, so make sure to watch and subscribe. This video has the sentencing of a drug dealer who thinks he can smooth talk the judge, but he hasn't learned that you don't get over on Judge O'Donnell. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel and click the bell so you never miss a new video.
Judge, today is Jeff's birthday. Turns 43 today. Not the best way to celebrate his birthday. He's taking responsibility for his conduct. As the court knows, Jeff is 43. He has 2 daughters, a 6-year-old daughter and an older daughter who's attending school. You have a letter from her, and you have a letter from a number of other people that know Jeff. And the thing about these letters is they talk about what kind of guy he is. Very helpful, very compassionate guy, there if you need him, do anything for you. And they point out some of the circumstances where he has done things for people. In owning this bar, Kate's Bar, that he's had for a number of years, it really provides his income. And he's had a number of employees there that he's actually took care of during the pandemic. He did a lot of things, went out of his way to make sure people, had what they needed to get through the pandemic, had jobs or had money or food and things like that. And again, I point that out, and that's in some of the letters you have there to get an idea what kind of guy he is. He got kind of caught up owning this bar where people come and they drink alcohol and do other things, and some people some of his patrons were doing drugs, predominantly cocaine. And he got involved in making cocaine available to certain people. And doesn't deny that as a big mistake. Just kind of got caught up doing it and continued to do it, and realizes something he should have never done and how it's going to destroy his life and his daughter's life and his little 5-year-old daughter who is in kindergarten, and how he's got to deal with telling her where he's going to be. He's had a couple of semesters in college. He's a low-risk scorer. He's got a father who is a police officer, a brother who is a police officer presently. So he has some good examples in his family as to what should be going on. And this has been a real turnaround for him in his life. He, and on behalf of him and the state, we've entered into an agreement which we know doesn't bind the court, but we've entered into a joint agreement for a recommendation of 18 months, and he realizes this court can give him whatever the court wants to do on these things. I guess what I can say about Jeff is I've not known Jeff for a long time. The period of time I've known him here, he's been very remorseful about his conduct, very concerned about his family, concerned about other people and his friends, how it's going to affect them. He is forfeiting $50,000 in addition to some monies that they did find at the bar. The $50,000 represents kind of his interest in the bar. He had to give up the bar, and so he no longer has that for a source of income. By giving up the bar, he had to say goodbye to some of the people that worked at the bar, some of his friends. So it's going to be a total change of life for him. When he gets out of prison, which he will someday, he has plans to go into real estate. He has dabbled in real estate in the past, but it's going to be quite a change for him. So he's prepared for whatever the court gives him today. I believe he's got a very low risk score. I think when we look at some of the criteria under the Ohio Revised Code for sentencing, he is remorseful. Tell the court how remorseful he is. He indicated that in his pre-sentence report. It's nothing that I think had any dangerous, it didn't injure anybody, but he does realize the risks of engaging in any sort of drug trafficking or drug sales. The amounts that he did actually sell to people were F5 amounts. There were drugs at the facility, at the bar. They were kept in a shared room, and he's taking credit for it, but I think other people had access to it also. So we're going to ask the court to follow the joint recommendation, if the court will. I know that Jeff would like to approach or talk to the court also.
Mr. Myers, what do you want to tell me before I impose sentence?
I just want to apologize to everybody that I let down, the burden I put on family and friends that are here, that are not here, to my daughters who need me and are not going to have me. And I never want this to happen again. I'm never going to allow it to happen again. I just apologize to everybody.
There were, I think, 6 different buys here, right?
I thought there were, I thought we pled to 4 different buys, Judge.
Yeah. Pled to 4, there were 6 that were done.
Right.
Before the search warrant was executed. So how long have you been selling drugs out of the bar?
It was those isolated times. I mean, a few times in those, it was mainly just helping out a friend.
But it was a confidential informant that set you up, right?
Right.
So how did that person know to go to you to buy drugs?
It was my brother's boss, and I was just helping out a friend. I was helping out my brother's boss, essentially.
Your brother's boss?
Yeah.
Who's that?
The guy I forgot his, what was his name? The informant's name, I forgot his name. It's, what was his name? Do
Well,
we have the information?
Yeah, I don't remember.
You,
Kurt, it was Kurt.
a call is placed to you to buy drugs from you, and 6 times they place this call, 6 times they buy drugs from you. And those were the only 6 times you ever did this.
Essentially, they were all isolated incidences. I was just helping out my brother's foreman, yes. He'd reach out to my brother and ask if there's someone that could help him out. And I knew that there was someone at the bar that I could also grab it from to help him out. So I told him, yes, I would help him. And being my brother's good friend, I thought it would just be a quick situation. Like I said, they're very isolated situations. It was.
Well, who were the other people in the bar that you were helping out, kind of going as a go-between?
Just customers that are at the bar that are no longer been around. They don't come around anymore. They weren't really even friends per se. They were just people that were there that I knew that had the capabilities of doing it.
How long had you been letting Horn and Bush operate out of there?
I don't. They haven't been around in 2 years.
Well, this all happened 2 years ago.
Right, that's what I mean. They've been around.
How long had they been hanging around?
They were
with
probably
you?
hanging around there for a couple years prior to that.
Okay.
No, I don't know what they were exactly doing. I mean, whatever they were doing, I had no knowledge of, and I didn't really.
You didn't know that Bush was a pretty prolific drug dealer?
I've heard things, but I really didn't affiliate with him that much. To me, he was just a customer. I just.
Now a local tax expert will do your taxes for $150 all.
See, your whole story in here doesn't ring as being true.
I mean, I've heard of what he's done, and I know about him, but I didn't affiliate.
Talking about what you have said in this thing. It seems rather unbelievable that a CI places a call to you 6 times, and 6 times you sell them drugs. Then the place is raided, and there's a bunch of cocaine in there, some weapons that you really had no knowledge of, right?
They were in the shared room, yes.
Okay, shared with who?
The shared room is with every other business in the whole building.
Right.
Multiple businesses.
Okay. So that wasn't really yours then?
No. I mean, it was partly mine. It was all the other businesses so the whole building is broken down into 4 separate businesses, and all of those businesses shared that room.
Okay. Which other businesses?
It would have been a yoga studio.
Which you had frequent access to, right?
Well, no, not frequent access. It was connected to the shared room. It was on the other side of the shared room.
So anybody that wanted to come in the bar that rented one of these other facilities could get into your bar through the shared room?
Just a yoga studio. Then it was also connected to the trophy shop. Technically, I guess the trophy shop would have been able to have access. And then there was a 4th business that didn't have access to the bar through the shared room.
There was one or two occasions where the CI called you to arrange a sale.
Yes.
And either Horn or Bush were there to complete the sale. Why was that?
Oh, because they were the ones that had it. So I might not have been there. I didn't really want to do it because it really wasn't, like I said, something that I did. It was just isolated incidences. What I thought was just helping out somebody, which was stupid. So if they were there, it was probably them that ended up handling it because I was not there. I was trying not to even do it. I didn't want to be any part of it. But being my brother's foreman, I just thought, okay, I'm just helping out my brother real quick. Not, I mean, stupid, but.
Why wouldn't you have just referred him to Bush or to Horn? Say, I don't know nothing about that stuff. Here's these 2 guys. You can get it from them. Why not do that?
I mean, because I don't think they would have trusted it at first. I wasn't thinking that's what I should have. I mean, I should have done that. I shouldn't have done any of it, to be honest. You know what I mean? But in that scenario, yes, I should have. Instead of me being the middleman, all they're doing is playing middleman.
Yeah. Well, see, this just isn't believable.
What do you mean?
What I mean is I don't believe you.
Well, that's what it was. I was playing middleman to them guys and to my brother's foreman. And I could have just directly introduced them to each other, but I don't think they wanted to meet somebody new, and I don't think that's how they wanted to do
Well,
it.
if Bush and or Horn were dealing drugs out of this bar, and your customers knew that, why didn't they just go directly to those guys?
Well, these guys didn't know each other. This is my brother's foreman, lives...
I'm not talking about the foreman. One of the things that you said is that customers that would go to your bar were interested in getting drugs, and you were, and Bush and Horn were frequently there, right? Dealing drugs?
They were there, yes.
Okay. So you were acting as a go-between. Why were you acting as a go-between with customers?
I would act as a go-between because they didn't know, not everyone knew each other. Like, they didn't know every single customer as far as regular just bar customers.
See, this Bush and Horn
right.
have worked a bunch of these bars all over the place, okay? So
Okay.
you knew that.
Yeah.
Right? If your customers were buying from them, they knew that. So why are you just being this nice guy go-between to satisfy your customers?
Well, I wasn't to everybody. I was only doing it to certain people. I was only helping out a couple of people. I was never involved with whatever they did. I was never involved with all their day-to-day transactions with customers.
Why do you say you're sticking your nose in the business of Bush and Horn with other customers, with your customers in the bar? Why are you sticking your nose in that if you don't know nothing about nothing?
Just trying to help out my brother's friend. That's what I mean.
Well, your brother's friend, you're saying, is a CI, right?
Right.
I'm not talking about the CI. I'm talking about you making the claim you're a go-between between customers in your bar, customers, not the CI, and Horn and Bush.
But I only did that. It was only a couple times. I was just small, isolated few incidences. I wasn't an everyday occurrence. I wasn't a continuous thing. That never went on like that.
All right, so you weren't keeping cocaine in the yoga studio either?
No.
Okay.
No, they all had access to that room.
Who's they?
Bush, Horn, all.
How did what unit did Bush and Horn rent in that?
They didn't rent any, but they were friends with the yoga studio. Okay. They were friends with the owner. They were also friends with the other owner.
What other owner?
Of the yoga studio.
Who's the other owner?
I forgot her name. It was it's written down probably somewhere too. What was her name? I don't know if her name is written down there. Lola. A lady named Lola. So she was the owner of the business next to me who also had access to the shared room. So they were all friends with her. One of them might have been dating her. So there was multiple ways to get into that shared room. One of them was also through the yoga.
Did you know there was cocaine in that shared room?
No, I did not.
You didn't.
An IQ of 85 to
No.
Did you know there was cocaine in the yoga studio?
No, I did not.
You didn't go over to the yoga studio on one of these occasions and grab some cocaine and bring it back and sell it?
I went over there, but I didn't know anything was in there. I just went over there what I grabbed.
What do you mean you grabbed?
What I grabbed for the CI.
Okay, so you knew there was cocaine there.
Well, what I had on me. Like, I didn't know if anything stored there. I didn't know anything about marijuana there, weapons. I didn't know anything that was stored over there that these guys had over there.
Okay, you went over to the yoga studio, got the cocaine, came back to the bar and sold the cocaine.
No, I met him in the yoga studio.
Okay.
He was in the yoga studio.
Why did you meet him in the yoga studio?
It was just quieter, not as,
Why not in the kitchen? Usually we're doing this stuff in the kitchen, right?
Yeah, there was occasions where that's where it was.
So
but
why did you do it in the yoga studio?
I think it's because there was less people around at that time. It was just quieter. It was just where I went. I don't want to be around people.
What else you want to tell me?
That I wish I had never done any of it.
Well, you did.
I know. I mean, nothing I could do about it. I mean, I did what I did. I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't help out anybody. I wish I didn't even hung out with those guys. I wish I didn't meet those guys. I wish they never came out to my bar.
Well, if that's true, then you would have kicked their asses out of the bar when you knew they were selling cocaine, wouldn't you? It's your bar.
Yeah.
So why didn't you kick them out?
I kind of overtook it. It got to a point where there was so many of them, and it was, I don't know how to explain it, but it was almost it was hard to control that many group of people. There was a lot of them up there every single day. It was hard to.
Selling drugs?
I mean, not just that, I mean, just being in general, just drinking, hanging out, playing rap music all day, doing whatever they're doing, living that kind of life.
You knew they were selling drugs, right?
I mean, I knew that's what they did. I didn't watch. I knew that's.
See, you can't keep.
Well, yeah, I mean, I knew.
When you start lying, you can't keep
Not lying.
straight the lies, because you told me that you were kind of a go-between for
Yes,
Bush and Horn and customers, right?
Yes.
So you knew they were dealing.
Yes, I knew they were
So
dealing.
why did you let them deal out of your bar?
I didn't let them deal out my bar.
You knew they were dealing out of your bar, right?
To an extent, yes.
To an extent. To what extent?
I knew they're doing a little bit here and there when I would ask them to grab it for the people.
Okay, so why did you let them do that? That's my point. It's your bar. Why did you let them do that?
I don't know. I guess just bad judgment call. I mean,
And if you couldn't do anything to control it, why didn't you call the cops and say, I got guys dealing drugs out of my bar. I like my bar. I like being the bar owner, and these guys are ruining it. Get them out of here. Why didn't you do that?
I don't know.
Your father's a retired cop. Your brother's a cop. You knew you could do that, right?
I just want to deal with the consequences of them finding out. If they find out I call the cops on them, then I have to deal with, I don't know what the consequences.
You're the one that put, according to you, you're the one that put yourself in that position by letting them do that.
Yes.
Now, I don't believe that. I believe you were right in the thick of things, selling. Okay, I don't believe you only did it 6 times and you did it to help buddies out. I don't believe that. It's just that it's not a story that's believable.
Okay. It's the truth, I'm telling you.
All right.
It was never my thing. It was always their thing. It wasn't my thing.
All right, anything else you want to say?
No.
Mr. Geigrich?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just would acknowledge that Mr. Perez handed me the remaining part of the forfeiture this morning. And we'd ask that the court impose an 18-month agreed sentence in order forfeiture of the contraband, the weapons, and the currency of all the instrumentality was seized at the bar. Thank you.
So is there additional currency that was seized that you're talking about, or is that part of
Yes,
what?
there was a total at the bar, I do believe, of $11,000. It's total of $52,741.26 being forfeited, Your Honor.
There was $11,020.26.
Yeah.
Taken from the bar. And
From the storage area?
Pardon?
Right?
From the safe.
From the safe. And the money was all bar money, but yeah, that was money was seized.
But it's a total of $52,000.
Correct. So the concept is, Judge, that of the $52,741.26, they seized $27.41.
Say goodbye to expensive dentist visits.
$22,741.26. The remaining money is all part of the $50,000 that we're giving to the Lake County Narcotics Agency in lieu of them taking the bar. So the 27.
Taking the bar how? How are they taking the bar?
Well, I think their concept was the bar could be a, criminal premises that they would be able to seize because criminal activity was going on there.
They recovered $2,741.26 from the defendant and $8,479 from the office. So it was a total of $11,220 were seized in the search warrant, Your Honor.
Okay.
But he's forfeiting $52,741.26.
So who owns the bar?
What's that, Your Honor?
Who owns the bar?
His mother owns the bar, but the bar is being sold, and So the bar, as indicated, was previously was going to be sold to somebody else. For a number of reasons, they backed out of the deal, which caused him an issue as far as getting all the money that had offered. It's now being sold to somebody else at a lower down payment. And it's also a requirement of the Liquor Control Commission that the liquor license be transferred out of his possession.
All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report and the letters that were provided by Mr. Perez. I've considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. The thing about you, Mr. Myers, is that it's apparent to me that you were pretty extensively involved in this case. And you pled guilty to these charges. And Mr. Perez had indicated you're taking responsibility for this, and you're not taking responsibility for it. You're saying that you were just a middleman. You did this on 6 occasions, and it was Horn and Bush and whoever else. I don't believe you. Okay? I don't think you're taking responsibility. I think you're trying to minimize what your role was.
No, I was.
You're trying to minimize your role in this thing. Okay? And so you're not taking responsibility for it. Just pleading guilty doesn't mean you're automatically taking responsibility for it. So I'm not going to adopt the joint recommendation of counsel. I'm going to sentence you to 24 months in prison, and you pay the court costs, and the items subject to forfeiture are forfeited. When you get out, you might be on post-release control for up to 2 years under the parole authority. If they place you on post-release control, they'll put conditions on you. If you violate their conditions, they could return you to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If your violation is a new felony, you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation, the maximum of which would be the greater of 12 months or the time left under post-release control. Is there anything else, Mr. Geigrich?
Yeah, how are you allocating that, Your Honor?
24 months on the 3 and 12 months on the rest, all concurrent.
Thank you. He has a fine, though, too, Your Honor, mandatory fine.
Of how much?
It's $10,000, so it's a minimum 5, but he can waive it if.
Judge, we'd ask the court to consider the amount of money that we forfeited in lieu of the fine.
Well, I don't know that I can do that because it's a mandatory fine. So why don't you file a affidavit of indigency?
I will.
And then I won't sign the entry until that affidavit gets filed. So
right.
I'll impose a $5,000 mandatory fine, but it would be waived upon the filing of an affidavit of indigency.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Hey everybody, today's court comes from Judge John P. O'Donnell in Lake County, Ohio. Here's his information. Make sure to subscribe.
Amani Warren, violation of community control, violation. Tested positive for marijuana on September 12, September 26, and October 24. You understand that charge?
Yes.
Ms. Novotny?
Your Honor, before coming into court today and discussing the probation violations with my client, she would like to waive the probable cause in the final hearing on this and plead guilty to the probation violation.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
What's your plea to the charge?
Guilty.
I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. Okay, what's going on?
So basically, I haven't smoked since before the last time I saw you. Well, I haven't smoked any marijuana. I don't know why my pee is like that. I don't understand myself. I was just trying to do things the right way.
What are the possible explanations?
Well, I've been on a little health journey, and I was taking some vitamins, and it wasn't made aware to me until I was already arrested that it might cause false positives. I had my family members look them up when I was on my jail call. I didn't know. I found it on TikTok. I was just scrolling through TikTok, and I was taking some ashwagandha. I was taking some fenugreek, some pre and probiotics, and
So what discussion did you have with Ms. Crook when you tested positive the first time?
I told her I wasn't smoking and that maybe it would be the secondhand smoke. So I started
It's not secondhand smoke. Don't try that because it just doesn't happen. It's not true. And if it were true, why are you hanging around people that smoke pot?
So then I stopped.
Huh?
I stopped like being around it. I didn't know if that would like cause it or anything, but
It doesn't cause it, okay? Doesn't cause it. You're not testing positive for marijuana by taking vitamins, okay?
it's a
Now, did you
mushroom.
get the evaluation I told you to get back in August?
No, I was going to get it with my paycheck this week. I told my PO that I couldn't afford it beforehand because my job fell through because of my background check. So when I finally got a job and started working, I told her what day I got paid and when I would get it. I got on health insurance. My child's father put me on his health insurance, but the open enrollment wouldn't allow me on there until January.
You are 25.
Yes.
You have no record until you got this.
Yes.
Are you bound and determined to get more of a record, or do you want to get your shit together and
No,
stop screwing around?
I took what you said very seriously.
Okay, no, you didn't because you're smoking pot. Don't tell me you weren't smoking pot.
I am not.
Okay, I mean, you go to the point where you admit you're hanging around people who smoke pot, which tells me you're smoking pot. So knock off the shit, okay? Do you want to get how old's your daughter? She's going to be 1 year old in 9 days, as I understand. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, would you rather be sitting in jail on her birthday, or would you rather be with your daughter living your life on her birthday?
I want to be with her.
Okay, then quit screwing around. Now, Ms. Novotny tells me you want to do an IOP. What IOP?
In Cleveland.
What?
Preferably because my car broke down. It's easier for me to get there.
Where?
Signature Health.
Have you gone there yet?
No. I couldn't afford it before because I didn't have health insurance.
Did she ever tell you that, Jamie?
Yes, we had talked about that. It still said after that first positive that she needed to be getting that done. We had that conversation again after the second positive screen on October 10th.
So is it true that unless somebody has health insurance, they can't get drug treatment? Is that your experience?
No, they can still
Okay.
get things done.
So you don't need health insurance.
I know, but when I went to check the prices and I told my PO, I even went to the hospital, to university hospitals, I just couldn't afford it. So I was waiting for my first check, which was Friday.
Okay. Well, there's places that, aren't there places that provide treatment for people who can't afford it?
They can do sliding scales.
Okay. I mean, I would think all the money that we throw at these agencies, there should be provisions for that. I just don't think you wanted to do it because you just didn't feel like doing it.
That's not true.
Okay, well, then prove that it's not true. Because right now, the overwhelming evidence is that it is true. The overwhelming evidence is that you're smoking pot. And unless you get your act together, nothing is ever going to change, and I'll be sure to see you again. And then I don't know where your daughter will go while you're in jail. Where will your daughter go if you're in jail?
don't know, with my mom, with his mom, with him.
Is that what's best for your daughter?
No,
Why don't you do what's best for your daughter and not what's best for you?
I'm trying.
Okay? Well, you're not trying hard enough. I mean, I would have thought that somebody who doesn't have a record and picks up a felony at age 25 that would be like a slap upside the head to figure out, I better be doing what I'm supposed to be doing and not whatever I feel like doing at any given time. That's what I would think. All right, I'm going to keep you on community control, 5 days in jail with credit for 5. Go to the IOP, complete the IOP, follow the recommendations. No drugs or alcohol with screens, and you know the screens will tell when you're using drugs. You know that now, right? Full employment, pay the costs and fees. You understand everything?
Yes.
You should, because it's exactly what I told you to do before. Okay? So, no more funny vitamins, no more people that are smoking pot, and stop smoking pot. That's it.
All right.
Seated. All right, it's 23/11/28. Sean Upshaw, violation of community control. Violation failed to report January 14 and January 28. You understand that charge?
Yes, I do, sir.
Tika?
Your Honor, I've discussed these violations with Mr. Upshaw. He's acknowledging that he made a mistake not reporting and that the due-to report falls on him. We'd ask that the court consider letting him remain on community control sanctions.
Well, what about the probable cause hearing?
Your Honor, we'll waive the probable cause hearing and accept responsibility for the violation.
All right, where you been?
I've been in Painesville, Your Honor. I've just been going through some things with Child Protective Services, trying to get my son out of foster care because my baby mother lost him. So I've just been all discombobulated, just running around with my head cut off, just trying to get everything in order for my son.
All right, well, you can't ignore Megan.
She never contacted me. She never called my phone.
When have, you've been on probation
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
for a year and a half, right?
Yes, sir.
When are your reporting times?
It moved from Mondays to Wednesdays in between the office hours.
When did you report in December?
I want to say before Christmas.
All right, when were you supposed to report the next time?
The lady I had said that Megan was supposed to call me with the date.
All right, did you call Megan to say, why am
I
you
left a
calling
voicemail,
me?
yes.
All right, listen. You're the one that's on probation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm taking full responsibility. Your Honor.
Well, you can be responsible by showing up.
Yes, sir.
And if you can't get a hold of Megan, then if I were you,
just go up there.
I'd show up there and say, where's Megan? I gotta see Megan.
Yes, sir.
I gotta see Craig Berry. I gotta see somebody so
Right.
I don't end up in the goddamn jail for not reporting.
Right.
Right? Now, you took a urine test yesterday.
Yes,
What's it
Your
gonna
Honor.
be positive for?
Just a little bit of marijuana.
Why?
Because, like I said, with everything going on with my son, I slipped back and literally smoked a couple of days before I went to the police station. And I told Craig that when he came and drug tested me before I even peed for him. I think it was yesterday.
Okay. What's the situation with Steris?
I was in the process of getting in there, and then I got picked. Well, I went to the police station, and they brought me here. So
What do you mean in the process of getting in there?
I was in the hiring process with my brother to get in there.
Okay. So they're gonna hire you?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do there?
Laboratory with my brother, correct?
Yeah, making medical supplies.
All right, I'm gonna set this case for a final hearing. John, probably in May sometime, so get a date from Maria.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna release you on your own recognizance. And I'm gonna see what you do in the next 3 months.
Okay, yes, sir.
And how you conduct yourself.
Yes, sir.
And then Dave, is he gonna see somebody before once he gets released?
I'll talk to him. I'll have him.
Okay.
We'll have him come up to the.
Either you or Craig, somebody.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Am I doing the same thing I did when I was released last time? Just go straight to probation?
Come straight up.
Okay.
All right, so, and then, we'll let you know what his date is for that next hearing.
Okay.
So, I already told you once, so I assume I don't have to tell you
You ain't
again.
gotta tell me again.
That if you don't.
You ain't gotta tell me again.
So I'm going to go ahead and call this, ladies and gentlemen. For those that do watch, thank you for watching. If you like this court content and you're not a subscriber to this channel, please do me a big favor and hit that subscribe and hit that all notifications and become a subscriber of this channel and help this channel grow. I will see you guys on the next one. For now, ta-ta and ciao-ciao. You all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you again tomorrow.
Breakdown, you're the one I call. From the mountains high, come down to it all. With your tools in hand, making magic flow. Every broken part, you help me grow. solid ground, always drawing near. Never give up on this heart of mine. Put it back together every single time.